You can't make this long time.
Hello, guys, and thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. So we just got done watching the Colts play the Bengals, and that was tough to watch. I mean, besides that pick six that the Colts ran in at the end of the first half was not really much offense or scoring or any positives. It was like every time the Colts made a couple of steps forward, or you thought, okay, they can get right back into this game, they would just do something that would shoot themselves in the foot and take themselves out of the game. And it just kind of became like a revolving door. And I got to hand it to the Bengals. I mean, they looked like a superior team to the Colts in every way. But we're going to talk about all that and more on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. But first, let's thank our sponsor, Reynolds Wrap. For 75 years, Reynolds Wrap has been helping save you time in the kitchen. Buy Reynolds Wrap and make steamer bags for vegetables. Line sheet pans with it. Cover your grill with it. There are so many uses for this stuff that will help save you time in the kitchen. Make cleanup a cinch. With Reynolds Wrap, wad this stuff up like I do, throw it right in the garbage, and get right back to watching the football game with Reynolds Wrap. Thank you to Reynolds Wrap for sponsoring this video. All right, let's go through some of the stats of the Colts game. What happened? 14-34 was the final score. Total yards in the game, we'll just go through real quick. 272 total yards for the Colts, 385 total yards for the Bengals, 226 total passing yards for the Colts, 274 passing yards for the Bengals, only 46 rushing yards for the Colts. And that was a big part of this game. And 111 rushing yards for the Bengals. Yards per play, 4.5 for the Colts, 6.8 yards per play for the Bengals. They were hitting big players all game long. 19 first downs for each team, 3 of 11 third down efficiency, which is really surprising to me. Both teams were 1-1 on fourth down for the Bengals, 1-2 for the Colts. 57 total plays ran for the Bengals, 60 total plays ran for the Colts. The Colts got sacked 3 times. The Bengals got sacked 0 times. So the Colts got no pressure at all on the Bengals. Another big part of this game. The Colts lost 1 fumble and they threw 1 interception, and the Bengals also. And time of possession was pretty even. It was 28-08 for the Colts and 31-52. So really only like about a 2-minute swing in time of possession. This game was really, really hard to watch, and I had to walk away. I was just actually just watching the Bills Kansas City game, and let me just tell you, off the subject completely, but Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, they are awful to listen to watch do a Kansas City game. It's like they are just such Kansas City homers in every way. Awful. I used to love listening to Jim Nantz, and I still like what he's good, and he's not going to do the basketball anymore, I don't think, but he's good at doing the basketball, and he's really good at doing the golf. But I think he has lost it for NFL games. Like, seriously, like the Bills are ahead in this game, and like all they're doing is just blowing smoke up the asses of everybody, telling everybody how great Mahomes is, and they never point out any mistakes he ever makes. He threw like a ball in the dirt. They're like, oh, that guy ran the wrong route. It's like, no, he didn't. He just threw that ball nose down in the dirt. I'm sorry, but that is on a rant for another day. But it's like, I can't stand listening to these guys on these big games. They are just so awful. I mean, just really bad. Get somebody else. Tony Romo's got to be replaced. Like, they got to stop on these news channels. Like, they only hire Cowboys people. Like Jason Garrett, he sucks at doing play-by-play. He only got that job because he was the Cowboys coach. Like, that's all there is to it. If you're a Cowboys coach or player, you can get a job. I mean, even Jason Witten got a job doing play-by-play on Monday Night Football, and he was absolutely awful. But he got that job because he played on the Cowboys. All right, enough about that. Let's go back to talking about how bad the Colts sucked up in this game. They sucked so bad. It was so hard to watch. Oh, man. I'm going to tell you, I am like not happy about what I was watching there because I thought, man, this team has a long ways to go, and it's not all just the quarterback. It's not all just – none of this was really Minshew at all. Our defense is awful. I mean, really, really bad. I mean, they're playing with a backup quarterback. Their wide receivers tore us a new asshole. I mean, it was really tough to watch. It was like Higgins for them and their tight ends. I mean, everybody for them was really tearing it up. Let's go to their player stats here. Okay. Well, for us, here is a glaring stat for the Colts. Zach Moss, 13 carries, 28 yards, 2.2 yards per carry average. Sermon got in the game, 3 carries for 13 yards. Minshew had 2 carries for 5 yards. I mean, that's just awful. Pittman, another good game for Pittman. 8 catches, 95 yards. Besides that, I mean, we're looking at Will Mallory coming in second for the wide receivers, 5 catches for 46 yards. Downs, 3 catches for 32. I mean, Downs, he's kind of just getting back more active with the team. I mean, Mo Alley-Cox, that was a great play by Shane Steichen on that 4th down play to get the ball to Mo Alley-Cox. That was the same play they ran a couple weeks ago on 4th down where they bring Franklin into the game and they do play action. Now, I would think a lot more people are going to look out for that play now that they've ran it 2 times in a 4th down situation. It's been successful. But great play there by Shane Steichen. I would say that was a spot there where we needed the touchdown and we needed the 2-point conversion. We tied this game up 14-all. And then we come out in the second half. Bengals just get 2 touchdowns right away. They go right down, score. Colts 3 and out. They go right down and score again. They were able to do to us in the second half exactly what they did to us in the first half, which really was indicative that like the Colts were way out of their league in this game. This game was really a 34-7 game. I mean, that other touchdown was just not really showing like that the Colts were playing great, why they were able to tie the game 14-14. It was just kind of a fluky interception that they ran back in. But the Bengals wide receivers, Brown, 3 catches for 80 yards. He had the big breakout run for them. T. Higgins, 2 catches for 72 yards. I mean, his 2 catches were just big time backbreakers. Mixon, 3 catches for 46 yards. In rushing, Mixon, 21 carries for 79 yards, and then Brown, 8 carries for 25 yards. So, and then this is just one you want to really forget about for the Colts. I thought we had a better chance to win this game coming in. I really did think, the Colts are going to win this game. I thought the Bengals would come out with a backup quarterback and, without Joe Burrow out there and everybody. And I thought maybe the Bengals would play like they didn't play as hard. But, I mean, they came out and just really took it right to the Colts. One thing I talked about in my video this last week, the Bengals struggle to stop the run. That can be a sign of a really good team. So the Bengals came out, I mean, they were giving up 135 yards on the ground coming into this game, and they'd given up 1,607 yards total on the ground, which was, I believe that was worse than the NFL for rushing defense. But really good teams, when they play a team like the Colts and they really have to stop the Colts running game, you saw how their game plan, they knew if they could stop the running game and still they kept their safeties deep the entire time. I don't know if you noticed that first play of the game, Minshew play action went to throw it deep and they had double coverage. So they kept a safety deep the whole time and stopped our running game. So we weren't able to throw the ball, and they were able to stop our running attack with less guys in the box. So that was going to limit us from any aspect. We got to win these matchups up front and run the ball to win these games. But I think one of the big things we are missing is like Jonathan Taylor. He gets more yards than Moss does. because he hits the hole faster. He's just a faster guy, faster player, more dynamic player. Without him out there on offense, we lack a lot. Jonathan Taylor scares other teams in the way that he could catch the ball out in the flats and take the ball right down the sideline all the way to the end zone. Teams guard against that happening by putting guys in different positions where they're going to be stopping Jonathan Taylor. Without that threat out there on the field, I think it changes the dynamic of what you're able to do on offense. We already know like we're limited by our wide receiver play. Pittman is really good, but it's not like we have wide receivers that can burn guys down the field. By our quarterback play, by our running back play now, we don't have any real dynamic running back. The one position that we did have that was more dynamic, and Jonathan Taylor, now he's not out there. All of this is kind of like coming and making this perfect soup for the Colts not to win these games. They won 4 games in a row. That was kind of fool's gold. Before that, we lost 3 games in a row to a lot of teams like this, like the Bengals, where you came into the game thinking, like, the Colts should be able to win this game, and then they get beat. And they get beat looking like they have no chance to win. But it's going to be a tough rest of the year. All these games are going to be really, really tough. So we got the Steelers on Saturday. So we're playing on a short week. Steelers, then we go to the Falcons. We got the Steelers at home. I'm telling you, there are going to be a ton of Steeler fans at this game at Lucas Oil Stadium. They're going to be loud as hell. They're going to be annoying as hell. And this is just not a game I think the Colts are going to win. They're not going to beat the Steelers. They just aren't. TJ Watt, their players, they'll stop the Colts running game and they'll force them into mistakes. This is going to be a really tough game. Now, can they beat the Falcons and the Raiders? Maybe. They could beat the Falcons and the Raiders. I think the Raiders will be harder to beat. But those are the 2 games I think the Colts have to really key in on now if they're going to be able to maybe make the playoffs. But this was huge today. I thought they'd come out in this game at Cincinnati and play a better game. I thought Minshew and some guys would be a lot more hyped to turn the screws on the Bengals, and get to 8-5 would have been great. But it didn't happen today. Look, we got to just realize, like, until we get Anthony Richardson back and we can watch him develop a little bit more, we're just limited out there on what we can do as a team. I mean, we got Minshew out there, and he's trying like all hell to make this, to like do everything he possibly can to help this team to win. It's just, he just is what he is. And the whole team is kind of right now. We got Grover Stewart back. That didn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference. But till next time, stay classy out there, Colts fans.